Broadcasting from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip, it's Awkward Silence 2.1. And now, our favorite host in this particular time spot, it's Brandon Gooch on.
There it is right there. Just getting a good stretch. Just taking a good stretch there. Hello, I'm Brandon Gooch on, and welcome to Awkward Silence 2.1 right here on the historical Vegas Video Network. Yay! All right. No, but wait. Hold that applause, one person. Hold that applause. Now we're going to make some noise for our special guest, Elayne Boosler. Yeah, I'm telling you, we've got to give it up. She's going to be headlining down at the Riviera Starlight Theater tonight through Sunday. Great show if you know who Elayne Boosler is. Now, without any further ado, I think it's time for the seamless segue to camera number 2. Yeah, look at that. Spot on, right? Let's do the old news. Bret Michaels, frontman for Poison, is trying to sue the producers of the 2009 Tony Awards, claiming that they aired his little mishap for ratings. And if you're unaware of what mishap I'm talking about, let's take you back to 2009. We got the video for you. All right, here's Bret Michaels. Hey, what's up? It's still 1987. Hey, you know what show I like? Elf. And everybody's jumping on stage. Bret Michaels still relishing in the spotlight. And then boom! Oh! I think America should take up a collection and pay for the Tony Awards Defense Fund. Because if they could promise me they'll do that every Tony Awards, I'll watch it every single year. Next victim, Nicki Minaj. Let's make it happen. And Adam Levine, frontman for Maroon 5, went on the Howard Stern show and said that his preferred method of birth control is pulling out. Well, I'm here to let you know that he claims that it's foolproof. Look, Adam, of course it's going to be foolproof when it's with nothing but dudes, right, guys? You know what I'm talking about? Give me a high five.
Dude, he's not gay. He's dating a freaking Victoria's Secret
supermodel? No, he's only with her for the free underwear. Have you ever heard Maroon 5, The Writing's on the Wall? And speaking of other entertainment news, producer of The Amazing Race, Adam Rice, was found dead in his Uganda hotel room. Investigators say it's either because of a cocaine overdose or a suspected poisoning. And in sadder news, the producers for the Keeping Up the Kardashians are still alive and well. Sorry about that, America. Hey, Las Vegas. We're known for our eateries. We're known for our fine dining. And that's why we sent our very own Courtney Leone down to the Fremont Street Experience. Hey, Court.
Hi, Peggy. Gooch. I'm down here outside the Heart Attack Grill, getting ready to enjoy me a triple bypass burger. And just as you suspected, I do hate myself.
The triple bypass burger? Didn't a guy die last week from eating that?
No. He almost died, which is why I got to get me some of this before they shut this place down.
Whatever do you mean, young Courtney Leone?
Funny you should ask. There is an anti-meat protest group coming from Washington, D.C., trying to shut this baby down. Basically, a bunch of smelly hippies who think cows are people are saying no, and they're trying to take away one of Sin City's fine tourist traps.
Why is it a tourist trap?
First of all, if you weigh over 350 pounds before your meal, you get to eat here for free. Ugh.
Well,
furthermore, all patrons need to dine in a hospital gown.
Well, isn't that a kind of a benefit? You won't get your clothes stained?
No, you won't stain your clothes, but can you really wash the shame off your soul after you eat some flatliner fries and down that with fat bastard wine? Doubtful. By the way, I'm not being mean. That's the actual name for their menu items.
Jesus, Court.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, they have hot chicks for waitresses walking around in sexy nurse outfits. Like, my self-esteem really needs that.
Seriously? You think they eat there?
Sure, if by eat there you mean throw up in the bathroom, I do think that.
Courtney Leone, everyone.
I fear no diabetes.
Now, we got an email set up, awkward@vegasvideonetwork.com, awkward@vegasvideonetwork.com, a phone number, 866-966-4599, 866-966-4599, and we have live chat set up, vegasvideonetwork.com/live. If you feel brave enough to call up or write us and chat us, ask Elayne a question, she will answer it right for your face. Now, We're going to take a 30-second ID, and we'll be back with our headliner in just a little bit.
Traditional media believes that after about 3 minutes, you'll tune out. Most Vegas media companies think if it doesn't jiggle, you won't tune in. At the Vegas Video Network, we think both are wrong. The Vegas Video Network is the first and only live online broadcast network that specializes in insider news and expert views about Vegas. We combine great storytelling with the ability to watch when and where you want on your computer, mobile device, or television. Discover the real Las Vegas. Visit VegasVideoNetwork.com.
That's right, we're back. Oop, hear feedback. Hey, check this out. Our headliner, Elayne Boosler, is going to be headlining down at the Riviera Starlight Theater tonight through Sunday. You know exactly who she is. I can't wait to talk to her. I've actually been looking forward to this all week long. So let's make some noise for Elayne Boosler. Yay!
Thank you.
Well, seriously.
Well, thank you. I just want to explain that I'm overdressed because I couldn't have time to change for the next gig, which is, I believe, a presidential inauguration, if I'm not mistaken.
I like that.
Thank you.
It's a classy all day long.
This is pajamas in Las Vegas. This is my pajamas. Actually, I wear this in the shower in Las Vegas because you still have to be glittery. So.
Well, I was planning on going down to the soup kitchen and eating later on.
You look great.
But Elayne, this is the thing, and I don't like to throw this term out very often, but legend comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
No, you really.
Yeah,
of course.
Hey, I led Lewis and Clark across the Northwest Passage.
I like that.
I was using my Indian name of Sacagawea at the time, and then I changed it for show business because it sounded too Jewish. But
American pioneer.
I am an American pioneer. I carved the trail, and yeah. One of those Mount Rushmore guys, if you look closely, little long hair, little glitter, it's me.
It's but the thing is without you, there really wouldn't be so many female entertainers today, and I really do mean that. Like, the Chelsea Handlers and the Sarah Silvermans and all that. You had to pave the way for all of them because when you started, nobody was giving women a chance.
Well, when I started, all the guy comics were wearing dresses,
Right.
I mean, they all were in drag, Milton Berle and Rip Taylor, well, a little before my time. But, the only really thing that would happen if it was without me would be that no one in my family would have a house. That's about it.
We all live in a giant box.
That's it. I'm the one who didn't graduate high school, and I had to buy all those damn houses. But, it's interesting when you start, and I started, believe it or not, well, you would believe it, look, but 1973. Yeah, I know. I was 8. And, but, people kind of forget you. It's like there's no Medgar Evers Day. There's a Martin Luther King Day. It's like the first person through the door just dies, lays down, and everyone walks across you. And that's fine. I mean, you get the door open, and it's cool.
Right. Well, like, how do you feel when you see some of these comics, like, blazing the trail that you...
Thrilled. In fact, it's funny because the week that I got this gig, there was a whole thing in the New York Times about the Letterman show not booking any women comedians, and then their booker at the time,
Eddie Brill.
Yeah. He said, well, women aren't funny and they're not good comics, and we just all wrote letters because it was just so, didn't we fight this fight 30 years ago? Isn't it just an ignorant thing to say? What was he going to say next week? Blacks are uppity? What?
Hear that, Jacob?
Well, I think he is uppity.
He came in.
He's a bit uppity.
Yeah.
But, it was such a stupid thing to say. So the minute that happened, and I knew I got this gig, I hired a woman to open for me. And everyone said, wow, you doubled the amount of female comics on Letterman already.
Right.
So Adrienne Appalucci's opening for me at the Riviera, and she's fantastic. She's young. She's out of New York. She's hilarious. She's like Stephen Wright. And there's a billion great women around that people don't get to see because they're just not getting put on. But I could give you a list of 500 great women.
Well, Courtney Leone is good. But my thing is... the path that you had to take, though, because when you were trying, people don't do this nowadays. You produced your very first hour-long special with your own money.
Yeah.
With your own money, and then you shopped it, and they said, look, women don't want to see you on TV. And then you toured for 50 weeks trying to get the word out there. You got a good write-up, and then people are like, okay, we'll finally take the chance. I mean, that doesn't happen nowadays.
Well, I mean, business changes all the time. All kinds of business changes as things progress. But what it really was, cable had just started. Every single guy had had a special. I was already doing 2-hour headlining shows around the country, 50 weeks a year. This was early 80s. And I begged for a special, and they said, you know, I don't think anyone's going to watch a woman do an hour. That's what they said. Not women didn't want to see me, but nobody wanted to see me. And I said, I do 2 hours all around the country. And when I follow the guys in that you already gave the shows to, they say, well, we're going to make our money back this week, thank goodness. So they wouldn't do it. I had no credit cards, no checkbooks, no nothing. I had $10,000 in savings, and I was dating someone who was a producer and a cameraman. He said, we can do a special. And we did a great special, Party of One. And he said, you got to get some stars on it because they're not buying you. Bill Cosby, that was the week his show hit #1. He did it. Letterman had never stepped outside his own show. It was brand new. He did it. Dr. Ruth was hitting that year. We had stars. Tom Waits, an old friend, gave me his music. I had a show that had been culled for 12 years of stand-up. It was stunning, the show. And I went back and they said, we told you, nobody wants to see this. And I couldn't sell it. And my boyfriend said, what do you want to do? I said, now I realize it is personal, you know. I said, but we told everyone we'd pay them after we sold it because we didn't have money to pay them. I said, I'm going to tour for a year, pay everybody off, and retire. I mean, retire, get a job somewhere, and we'll teach. There was nothing left to do. And the greatest saying in TV is if someone doesn't like you in TV, wait 5 minutes.
Right.
Because they're all gone. I'm at the Riviera 30 years later. But a year later, new guys came into Showtime and bought the special and gave me 3 more specials. So,
you know, and this is the list of the people that you came up with. Andy Kaufman was convinced you.
Well, we lived together for 3 years in New York.
You know,
that was really the reason I'm here. I mean, he was the most fun you could have, and he really, you know, kind of taught me how this could work. You know, he was the greatest mentor you could ever have, and the most fun. It's really hard to have, like, the love of your life, you know, that early, and then, of course, you know, he died. But luckily, many, many years later, I got to meet someone who I loved, but it's hard.
You know, it's so crazy because, you know, somebody like that who was so eclectic and all on their own world, teaching you how to do jokes, and then you came along, and the jokes that you had were all yours. I mean, there was no women talking about taking a female perspective on relationships, and I remember you being the first one going, yeah, men are pretty stupid. I mean,
but I always said women were too. I never attacked. I did equal opportunity.
There was never any attacking,
Never.
but it was like, but you were the first ones that I remember really breaking it down. The social norms, and I don't think you get enough credit.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, credit, you know, I mean, thanks, great. I'll get it now, because here we are.
Right, exactly.
But, ta-da! No, but the truth is, I mean, it wasn't, you know, here's what's funny. I mean, it's like, do you remember Stone Soup, that parable? Some soldier comes back from the war, and he's starving. It's from a zillion years ago. It's an old parable, and no one will feed him. He knocks on all the doors of the village, and, you know, can I have something to eat? I defended you. No. So he finds a rock, and he starts a big kettle of water, and he puts the stone in it, and everyone says, what are you cooking? He said, oh, it's a very magical recipe from history, stone soup. Well, can I have some? He said, well, the only way I could give you some is if you added some carrots to it. Well, can I have some? Well, if you add some. So eventually he had this amazing stew, and they all ate. You know, with Andy, I mean, the whole thing was, you know, it wasn't about me having an agenda to sell. I just was trying to have a job. I was fired from every waitress job in New York City. I couldn't make a living at anything. I didn't graduate high school. And the minute I stepped on stage, everyone started attributing carrots and celery and like, she's trying to do this. She's trying to ruin the norm of women. She's too aggressive. She's too assertive. She's not enough of a feminist. And I'm going, I'm just trying to get a paycheck.
Right,
and pay my rent. I have nothing to say. I'm just talking about waking up today. You know, I had no agenda. I was a little stone with nothing, and everybody like laid all their psychology on me, and I had to pay the price for everybody's inner crap. And it was fascinating to me. Andy, you know, as far as not teaching me jokes, but he taught me how to be a good comedian. Our goal was, if somebody wants to hang out with you in your living room when you come off stage, you've done the right show. Because that's what you're going for, that people are so happy afterwards and like you so much, you know. And I mean, Andy, they loved at the end of his show what he did to them, where he took them. I've never seen anyone in my life, and like I said, I've been at this 38 years, there is no Andy Kaufman. people don't get it. People think they're like him. They have no idea the levels of thought that he operated on. He was the kindest, gentlest, most fun guy, and my advice to anyone who thinks he or she is an Andy Kaufman fan, forget that movie. They should be sued for that movie. Forget the frigging books. These are, people have their own agenda. They write books about dead people they never met, and they call them sick or, you know, They don't know him. You know, he was fabulous and wonderful. My husband managed the Doors. He's the only man who managed the Doors when Jim Morrison was alive. So he's the only guy who knew Jim in business. When Oliver Stone made the movie, my husband went and read the script. He said, this isn't Jim. And Oliver said, well, it's my vision of Jim. You know, my husband has to watch the Doors movie, and he's played in it, you know, the way I have to watch the Andy movie. It's never going to be the story. My advice is if you love the Doors, buy their music. If you love Andy, get his videos. Forget all the other crap.
Right. So that movie made you upset?
I didn't. That movie was so horrible. To call him, you know, have hookers at the Mustang Ranch say, man, there's a really sick guy out there. He used to call me from the Mustang Ranch laughing and saying, this is so great. I finally can have everybody I want and we have such a good time. He wasn't sick. He was like a kid in a candy store having the most fun.
Right.
But they can't get that because the guy who made that movie is sick.
Right.
He's the guy who is mean to the hookers, not Andy.
Right.
Andy was, I can't tell you. Go find his work. You will be delighted. He was the best.
The chances he took were pretty. People like to throw that around in comedy nowadays, especially if like for example, you're very liberal, so you come out and you speak on behalf of that, and they'll say that's brave. But me personally, I think the things that he did were so eclectic and so out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
I just, these might not get laughs, but I'm going to try it.
Well, but he didn't even operate on that level. He always was introduced as a song and dance man. Mm-hmm. If you said, here comes comedian Andy Kaufman, he wouldn't take the stage.
Right.
He wouldn't, you know, and I say, well, why do you do that? And he said, because if they call me a comedian, then people think they have to laugh. And I said, well, I'm going to make sure they call me a comedian.
Right.
When I go, I need all the help I can get. But his thing was he knew exactly where every show was going. Mm. He knew the levels and where he was taking them and where they would end up. And he wasn't afraid of it because there was always a map. Mm. And he was the only person I've ever seen in all my life who works without a net. I mean, you have no idea. You know, I just wish you could have seen him live. I mean, that's one thing I love about stand-up. I mean, like, I never got to see Lenny Bruce. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I've seen video, but, you know, he's like one of my gods. And, okay, I miss that. The great thing about stand-up, it's like the last spontaneous live thing left. You know, even presidential debates are all scripted crap now. Yeah. But stand-up, it's like the last back and forth, and it's live. And, you know, you have this beautiful piece of skywriting. And as the audience walks out, it starts to break up, and that's it. It's gone. You had to be there. Mm-hmm. So that's, you know, what Andy, you know, if you saw him live, or Lenny Bruce, or that's what I still love about it. Whoever is at the Riviera, as they walk out, that was it. You know, someday I'll be dead, and they'll say, man, I saw her one night at the, but you weren't there, you didn't see it.
Right.
It's lovely.
We have a chat question. What's up, Scott?
Yeah, Bill wants to know, has Elayne ever thought about writing a book about Andy?
I am writing my book, Andy's part of the book. It's coming out this year. It's called Big Fun, and it's not an autobiography. Hooray! No childhood. No whining, no childhood. All it is it's all the funny stories from starting out in the 70s, the stories that people keep saying, what was it like? And I think people really want to know. They ask me all the time. And it's all the guys I started with, Richard Belzer, Freddie Prinze, Andy Kaufman, Jimmy Walker, Letterman, Leno. Lily Kane used to come in, Richard Pryor used to come in, Robert Klein. I have stories about everyone. And it's just the hilarious stories because I worked the door in the clubs for years. So Ed Bluestone, do you remember him? Genius, crazy writer. You know, and I have all their material in the book, which is and it's really going to be just a funny telling of all the great stories.
And that's the most amazing thing about comedy too, is the funniest stuff for us is backstage.
Yes.
Like but with other comics, like because everybody is so they're paying attention to their surroundings, and then all of a sudden one thing happens, and then it's just like you said. As soon as that big laugh hits, it's gone forever.
Oh yeah.
And try explaining that to other people.
Oh, but the stories. I mean, you know, you can curse here, right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't curse in my act as a point of honor because that's all anybody does now. Mm-hmm. And even though I like to curse and I curse all day long in my life, I just feel people pay and they come in and all they hear is this stuff all night. So to me, it's a point of honor not to curse in the act. Plus, we're writers. The whole point is using the English language as your only tool. It's your paint. If you can't paint, you shouldn't be up there. If you only have, black paint, that's it. Fuck it. My friend Tom Dreesen was doing a roast, and everybody was, motherfucker. And he said to one guy, he said, motherfucker isn't a punchline. And the guy said, oh, you don't curse in your act? And he said, no, I don't. And the guy said, what do you use for adjectives? And Tom said, adjectives.
Yeah.
So, it's a point of honor. But anyway, so like one of the stories in the book, Ed Bluestone, who was a genius, he did the National Lampoon cover, if you don't buy this magazine, we'll shoot this dog. It was in the 70s. Then they had to get the dog's eyes to look at the gun, and we didn't have Photoshop then. That was like the biggest selling National Lampoon thing, and he had a very dark act. And he was a terrible performer, but a great writer. And he'd stand there really like this. And all the waitresses and I, as the hostess, we knew when someone was going to break through. You had a great night, and then they became who they were going to be and never went back. But it took years sometimes. And I remember the night it happened to Freddie Prinze. He just became Freddie that night. And there he was. But I watched the struggle before. Ed Bluestone goes up, and he always struggled. He always kept his hand in his pocket, held the mic here, fisheye straight out, no movement. And he was having a really good show, and he started to get a little loose, and all the waitresses were standing there kind of watching. We went, maybe Ed's going to become Ed tonight. Maybe this is his night to break through. And he's going, blah, blah, blah. He's doing his stuff, and he's loose. And finally, first time in 4 years, he says, well, any questions? Well, he never, and we went, oh my God, this is his night. And this guy yells out, yeah, why's your hand in your pocket? And without missing a beat, he says, because your wife's a cunt. And we went, not tonight. It's not
Whoa, hey. You got to use that word when the time is right. We got another chat question.
Yeah, his wife's on the line, though. Bill just said, hey, I just saw your website, Elayne. Why is Facebook a cocksucker?
Clocksucker.
Oh, clocksucker.
It's a clocksucker, because you can't get off it. It takes all your time. I actually did a rap, believe it or not. I know it sounds so horrible, a white woman doing a rap, but it actually is a good rap, and it's called Facebook's a Clocksucker. And it is Facebook's a clocksucker. Time disappears. I sat down in 04. I'm still here. Melting through the chair and moved a muscle since July. I'm the plus side. Yeah, the plus size. Time is on my thighs. Never done so much free work. It has me all a tucker. Sarah Palin is a jerk and Facebook's a clocksucker.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I think I'm going to jump in my 6'4" Impala right now and bump that.
Oh, no. Did I embarrass all white women in the world? No. You can't get off Facebook. You sit down and you get up. You're fat. Your roots need to be done. Find out your husband's white. It's horrible.
So other than comedy, though, you've done other things, too, because you took a little break from stand-up.
Yeah, well, I run a nationwide animal rescue. I heard you making fun of the tree huggers and the cow people. But, I just love animals. And so it's called Tales of Joy. If you're online now, it's talesofjoy.net. I started 11 years ago. I've been in rescue for 16. And we just fund the smallest, neediest rescues across the country. Because, when you get money like to the Humane Society of the United States, the big one, you can check it in charitynavigator.com. They spend 2.5 cents of every dollar on animal-related issues. The rest is pensions, travel, $1 million salaries. I mean, your money's going nowhere. But you have 3 ladies in Iowa rescuing cats, 3 grandmothers. Man, you give them $1, it's $100. Right. And so because I travel, I meet everybody. We fund with the after-show merchandise. We leave it in every city. We're funding Poppy Cat Rescue here in Las Vegas this week. All the after-show merch is going to them. It's a small vet who people started dropping cats off. She's up to 100 cats. She won't get rid of them. She makes them healthy and slowly adopts them out. Our money's going to her this week. We just do the smallest, neediest rescues across the country.
You see, that's amazing to me about like the big corporation, the big charity.
Once you get big, the money doesn't go where you think it's going. Look at Susan G. Komen. Look at what they did, a couple of weeks ago, not funding Planned Parenthood for breast exams. I mean, that's pornography to me. That's vile for them to do that. And they have gazillions of dollars. It's always support your small local places. The reason Tales of Joy is good, we check like all the different rescues in all the cities. So we know if a small rescue is actually getting bang for the buck. If you give it to us, we can put it right back in your city in the right place. So.
You were and you're a liberal activist too. You've been on CNN. I mean, you've been on pretty much all the talking head shows.
But just to not scare people in the show if they come, I don't stand there and proselytize. I mean, I do both sides, just like I always did both sides of men and women.
Right, and that's not what I was getting at. But it's like,
I don't want to scare people away.
Right.
I want them to come so I can insult them and get them angry. No, I'm
exactly. Coming for you. But no, but just like you said, though, I mean, what you just said is you practice what you preached. I mean, especially from a liberal sense. I mean, basically, the big business, obviously, the Humane Society, 2 cents for every $1. That's upsetting. But then instead of talking about it, you're actually doing something about it. And and the thing is, though, is it all comes back to exactly what you did with your stand-up career. People were telling you not to do this. You could have done the easy thing and just...
I could have been the loudmouth, annoying neighbor 1,000 times on TV. It was offered to me. I said, why can't I have the show? Oh, funny. And I said, I get laid in real life. Why couldn't I get laid on TV? I mean, why? I'm not the best friend in real life. I'm the actual, I'm here. But I just wouldn't take the stereotypical, you have well, the book will tell you, and it's all funny, but the stuff you go through, I was this young 27-year-old, adorable. I was so cute, and I went to do the Tonight Show, little off-the-shoulder Spanish blouse and tight white jeans and a flower in my hair. Oh, too aggressive. What? And I look at this.
Too aggressive.
That's what they said. Johnny Carson said in Rolling Stone, oh, I saw a new woman, she's so aggressive. And if you look at the video, I actually cry when I look at it now, because here I am going, well, Charlie's Angels, it's such a silly show. It's just based on hair and nothing. That's my little joke. And I said, it's just based on clothing. What? He's dead? I'll change. I mean, this was the material in the 70s, and he's going too aggressive. And my heart breaks for who I was and what they did to me. And I'm just in there going, I'm just being funny. I'm not,
So what's the difference between Elayne Boosler then and Elayne Boosler now?
Oh, I'll kill you now. I'll kill you. I am so done apologizing.
I was already intimidated. I was like, I'm standing back.
You look at me wrong, I will fucking cut your legs off. I'll kill a bitch. I told you he's uppity.
Right. That was the white guy. That was the white guy.
Really uppity. It's funny. For years, I got the same comment. You do a million interviews with newspapers to sell your tickets. And the guys, I could write down the 5 questions before they asked them, And the first question, aren't men intimidated by a good-looking female comedian? And I apologized for the first 15 years. Oh, well, I'm not. Oh, gee, oh, gosh. And then the second 15 years, they'd say, aren't men intimidated by a funny woman? Here's what I would say. Not real men. Oh, well, I wasn't. I mean, not me.
Yeah.
It's just like, leave me alone.
Right. I like that. I like that philosophy. We got another chat question here.
Yeah, Nate wants to know, were there any shows that you were offered that ended up being big hits?
Well, yes, I was offered the Jenny Jones show before they gave it to Jenny Jones, and I just couldn't see myself doing an afternoon talk show. I really was fighting for a late night show. I'm very political. I write a monologue a day on Facebook and Twitter. I do every joke I do at 8 o'clock in the morning on Twitter. There's some version of it in a monologue of one of the guys that night. Because, that's what's happening in the news. And my stuff is very smart. I mean, it's so smart. And I thought, every woman gets an afternoon talk show. I want the late night show. And I held out and didn't get it. But
how hard would it be for you to bite your tongue on an afternoon talk show? Like some chick with 5 babies, 6 baby daddies, and then I need help. I can't see you going, let's be the whole PC Jenny Jones thing.
Well,
I can see you putting someone on blast,
If she wanted a dog, I'd help.
Yeah.
But I was coming out of the market one day, and there was a woman who had been panhandling in that market parking lot for about a week with 5 kids. And she came up to me finally, and she said, can you get me some food? And I said, I'll buy you a diaphragm. So that's how I would have been on a talk show. That's my talk show. One day, the shortest talk show in history. Buy you a diaphragm. I didn't have kids because I couldn't afford it, at the time that I could have had them. Enjoy your kids. Do something. Get a job.
Well, Elayne, I want to thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh, I had such a great time. Thank you.
But before we leave, we'd like to play a little game. It's called 3 Under 30. This is where we ask you 3 questions you got to answer.
Under 30 seconds? Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
And clock. Here we go. Who was the third president of the United States?
Elvis.
Oh, good. All right. Who was the first people to fly?
Orville and Wilbur Wright.
Yes. And finish this song lyric. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Oh, Lord.
No, it's actually war. Huh. Good God, you were close.
What
You were
is it
so
good for?
close.
Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
Well, Elayne's going to be headlining down at the Riviera tonight through Sunday in the
With
Starlight
Adrienne
Theater.
Appalucci. She's
Adrienne
fabulous.
Appalucci, from what I understand, fabulous. And don't forget to check out our website, ElayneBoosler.com.
And talesofjoy.net.
And your book is going to be coming out.
Big fun.
Big fun.
First half is Andy, and it's all beautiful. It's just a big love letter and all the great shows and hilarious things we had to go through together to not get killed by an audience.
Well, Elayne, thank you so much.
Oh,
for
my
stopping by.
pleasure. I've had the flu,
Okay,
but
I'll do that. Are we going to go there? Okay. Yeah, don't forget to catch the replays of this show on VegasVideoNetwork.com, Roku, iTunes, and YouTube. Once again, Elayne's going to be headlining down at the Riviera inside the Starlight Theater tonight through Sunday. We'll be back next Friday at 1 o'clock. Elayne, thank you so much
and
for
please
stopping
remember
by.
that cable adds 40 pounds.
We'll see you next Friday at 1 o'clock. Awkward Silence 2.1. I'm out. Bye-bye.